Welcome back. This is not your average episode of Party Talk. Yes, we're going to empower leaders in youth drug prevention, but I will not be your host. Nope, I've taken the reins and I've given them to David Tejero. David is one of our student ambassadors. He lives in Washington State. He's a senior in high school, and he is taking over today's episode. I am so excited for this. Number one, this is a great leadership opportunity for him. Getting to host his own podcast episode, get experience doing something like this, it's nerve-wracking sometimes. And I gave him a format to follow, and I'm just so proud of him. He did a fantastic job. He interviewed some incredible student leaders from a different state, actually 2 different states. And so I know you're going to enjoy this episode because we get to listen in on, 3, 4 high school students talking about drug prevention, what's working, what's fun, what's challenging, what's not working. And it's going to allow us to get better. And I just love the fact that they got to do something, completely peer-led, which at 518, this is what we're all about. Giving students real leadership opportunities, pouring into them, giving them training to do something new. And I know that David's just going to continue to get better at this because it's something he's passionate about. And in our program, we have different areas where we can invest in these students and their opportunities to learn. And this is one of them. He's really passionate about it. So I'm excited to see what the next one looks like too. Just to give you a heads up on the format. So this is a YTE or Youth Takeover episode, and you'll see them in the future. The next one will probably be with Jordan, one of our other ambassadors who's out in Missouri. And so, yeah, please let us know what you think about the format. Let us know if you have some students that might want to be featured. We would love to, feature your students in your coalition and give them that experience and that leadership opportunity to represent your coalition on this really cool platform. So enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the other side.
Welcome to the Party Talk podcast, where we empower leaders in youth drug prevention. I'm your host, David Tejero, and today we're talking with Summer and Hadley and her friend. We love to be here.
Yeah.
So tell me about yourself and what's your role and what do you do on a daily basis? Let's start with Summer.
Okay, hi, I'm Summer Porter. I'm from Blue River, Virginia, and I work with a group called Page Alliance for Community Action, and I work as a part of the youth group. I am the youth president/leader, and right now I'm currently working on my own research project, which involves building a community center. So a lot of my prevention work right now is focused on that, but in the schools, we do things such as prevention, education, and mental health awareness. So we're just starting a new club now. So hopefully that gets going.
Wow, that's great. So how'd you come up with that with your project? Was it
my
like that
project?
idea?
Yeah, so I go to a separate school. So I go to 2 schools, and one of my schools is called a governor school, which requires you to do a whole research class. So you have to have your own research project. I actually started my research for the community center about a year ago, just on my own time. And I just worked creating like a meta-analysis, and I worked with my local community organizations to pull data. And then I took my principles, kind of just going through the things. And I focus a lot on like what our schools qualify for. So like Title I and stuff like that. So that's when I created a meta-analysis. And then this year I started working more like actually trying to start like building and designing. And I met a really cool guy in my community who's actually been working on something similar for a couple of years. So right now we're communication, and we're waiting on a budget proposal to get back for the second time. And he's got his own floor plans and stuff. So I'm working on finding grants and stuff for that right now. So hopefully we can get that started.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really great. Actually, I love your project.
Thanks.
So Hadley, tell me about yourself, role, and what you do in the day-to-day.
Well, I'm happy. And so we have Youth Coalition, basically. in Milford, our community is really small, and so we can't do that awesome stuff like Sarah's doing. But we are just like trying to prevent like teens from doing substance abuse and really focusing on their mental health because that plays a big factor in it. And me and my friend, she's taking care of a baby, but we're like one of the leaders part of this coalition, and so she'll actually be going to DC to talk to the
What? No way. I'm actually going to DC as well.
oh, I forget other.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll find me. If not, there should be a Vibe 18 table, like a booth where you can talk to Jake, which is the CEO of this company, and we could go from there. But anyways, do not let your the small community affect like your ideas, right? Because that shouldn't stop you from doing something this great. Because I'm on the same boat as you. Our community is small, and even though there's a little small participation from the community towards this and like our peers, we still strive to do like the best, which is great. But I really love what you and keep doing it because it really helps the people in you.
And trust me, sorry, I'm going to interrupt, but trust me when I say I am also from an incredibly small community and we're geographically isolated. We have balance on all sides of us. So it's kind of hard to like get out of our community. And the purpose of the community center would be specifically because we all are such like a small rural town, would be like a central meeting place. So when we talk about like Title I, that's like almost half the kids qualify for free lunch because they make or their families don't make enough income to support like them in schools. So I 100% like understand being from like a small rural town, and it's incredibly hard. Like we don't have that much participation either, and it just takes a lot of work. So like definitely, I'm glad that like we kind of all have like a central theme because I think that's something that's like good for us to talk.
For sure. So again, Hadley, how'd you get into this kind of work? Like what moved you to this prevention work?
So my sister was actually one of the people that created our youth coalition in our schools. And so when I was like younger, like I was like always wanted to be in it. And so like I came into high school, I started like just getting involved and
yeah. That's awesome. It's awesome. Okay, moving on. What's a project, event, or initiative you've worked on that went really well? And tell us about that. I'll start with you, Hadley.
So well we really try to focus on families, trying to be connected. So we do a lot of like family drive-ins and try to do like games and stuff, and then like we give them like packages to go home to very close to the family because family is like a really big support in like mental health, and you feel like
Yeah, for sure. What steps did you take to make that happen? Like,
so our county sends us money, so we're able to get big screens and like we're at like the county fair like buildings we have, and so we're able to like use those as a, like part of to get everyone together. And then we actually have two like our coalition and another coalition, and we all combine to meet up, and then we all work together.
yeah, how could someone else try to replicate what you, in case someone in the audience is listening, want to replicate what you guys did?
You broke out. What didn't? So like someone who's listening, they could like they could start off like small, maybe like talk to like people they know like in their county or in the schools. Say, hey, me and this group of people really want to have like a family bonding night.
Right, so Summer, what's a project that went really well for you? Tell us about that.
Well, okay. I guess I'll probably talk about the one that we did probably a year ago with another program in Virginia. And we did their conference, and like within their conference, you had to create a proposal and a plan that you plan to implement in your community. And then you had to send it in and present it, and it was for grant money. So we did that two years ago, and we ended up getting a mini grant, which was, I forgot exactly how much it was, but it was enough for us to implement our project, and that was drinking and driving prevention in the driver's ed classroom. So what we did was we got these little, what we call swag bags, and we put some information and the little gifts in the swag bags, and then we set up some curriculum for the driver's ed courses. And the theory was that you take driver's ed, and within your driver's ed classes, there's one day or there's a segment that talks specifically about drinking and driving and the problems behind that and just what that can cause. And we handed all those swag bags out to the graduating driver's ed classrooms that year. And then the second year, we won the big grant for that, from that program, and we did the community engagement. So we just got a couple things that we thought would be good to have at every community event. So we got like a snow cut machine, and that was just kind of like a fun thing that we could have at all our events. So
Yeah. That's good. You've made investments that could you could take for every event that you do.
Yeah.
That's good. Again with the driver's ed thing, I kind of did something similar, but not exactly. So it's just in the field. What I did was I made a PSA. Well, it wasn't just but me and my friends. We made a PSA that's like 30 seconds long. It was bad that it was so good.
yeah.
That basically like the distracted driving, the all that stuff that you need to buckle up and all that stuff when you're driving. So yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. This field can be tough sometimes, right? Like prevention and all that stuff. So, and things don't go to plan, according to plan. There's lots of moving pieces and lots of partners involved. What's a challenge you faced in your work so far? Let's start with Hadley.
I think I'm sorry. I think money has been a big problem, and like trying to get like permission to do things, because like our state's like really starting to limit how many people we can take to like what are they called, in trainings and stuff. And so we're not able to like have everyone come and help. So I think that's probably our hardest part.
So you said the state was holding you back? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So like last summer, like we went to Texas and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're only letting 2 people from each town, like coalitions. So like it's just hard to, because there's like a lot of members in our coalition, and they only take 2 from each coalition. I think they changed that. Get that? Because Jessica was supposed to come with us, but like Veronica got confused. She thought she'd only take like 2 from each side of the county, but you could take more. There'd just be like extra guys. I think. Yeah, well, it's harder to take out people from out of state. So
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like how did it feel that like you can't be able to go to these like trainings that are kind of detrimental? Like you need these lessons to move forward in the prevention work that you do, but you can't get it because you're not there. Like how did it make you feel, and how do you overcome that?
So I really think it's just like they take like the most like advanced like not like participated, and so I was lucky to go to Texas, and then like my friend will be going to DC. So I think it like works well. But like, I would love to still go to TC, but they don't let us go more than once. And I think that's like hard because like when you're starting to learn something and then like you can't keep progressing learning it, it's just hard.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to summer. What's something that didn't really go according to your plan? And because again, there's a lot of moving pieces, partners involved with prevention work. So what's the biggest challenge you faced so far, Summer?
Same thing, money. Money is
Yeah.
it's impossible. It's always impossible. It, especially as a youth, someone that is not an adult and doesn't work in your coalition, getting anything done without the permission from your supervisor or just having money in general is really, really difficult. So like the community center, that was my biggest limiting factor with working on my own, is I just don't have like $5 million laying around. And that like no one does. Like I know that's a hard thing, but even getting it proposed in my community is very, very hard because nobody wants to hear something that's like $4 million. Like, and it's a lot because you kind of have to show them that this will be benefiting the community, especially because like my community really lacks like a central meeting place or any type of like place that like especially teens can go. But it's hard to push that past people when like they're only really looking at the price tag. And I know that's been always really limiting, especially with my coalition. It's like the same thing about the training says we don't have like my youth section really isn't that big. Like we have probably like 7 or 8 core people. Yeah. Both of our counties. Like I've gone to multiple ones just because like I'm one of the ones that is the most like, me and my other people are like the most dedicated. We just don't have that like big, or we don't have a lot of people to pull for, even for adults. So yeah, exactly. I think all coalitions lack funding, and there's just also a bunch of legal things that we have to go through, especially because we're technically supposed to be promoting prevention, and we get funding from the state, and we get funding from the federal government if you apply for grants.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of things you have to satisfy and a lot of reporting to do. So definitely same thing.
So, yeah, like, see, what you're doing is good because you're creating a third place for people. Like, I went to this leadership camp this summer where all they talked about was a third place for people.
Yeah.
Like, we have, like, in our society as of right now, we have house and work and then house.
Yeah.
Like, again, they give an example, like Starbucks. I think that's their motto. I'm not sure, but Starbucks strives to create that third place for people where they like de-stress and just like calm down from the daily hustle of the daily hustle, you know? So creating that third place for people is very essential. Like, as we're humans, right? We're social creatures. We need that human interaction with each other. And I think that's very important. So, like, maybe if you need help with presenting that to your county, you should use the third place for people.
Yeah,
that could work. If
we don't have a Starbucks, so we got some cow fields. So I feel like that could work.
Yeah, for sure. What are your guys' prevention pet peeves? Like, something that you wish would stop doing in prevention field. Something that you wish we'd stop doing. Yeah.
Honestly, I would probably say adults trying to really, really like closely trying to relate with like how teenagers feel. I feel like it's kind of that social feel. And I don't want to use like the word cringy because I don't want to like offend anybody. And like my adult advisors are very hardworking and they're very like hands off and they let us do a lot. But just like going to things like CADCA and maybe seeing like other coalitions, and they talk about it a lot in their training, which is why I really like that. They're like, your youth talks best to your youth. So let them talk and don't be like over in their stuff, because I feel sometimes that comes that divide when you have an adult that's trying to talk to you in a very youth way, but you're not understanding because you still almost see them as an adult and they're not talking to you like you would talk to a peer. I kind of just think that I wouldn't say that's like a pet peeve or something that I really hate, but I think that's something that definitely could, if there wasn't as much, maybe that would clarify some information and just more communication, and maybe increase the chances that what you're trying to prevent will actually be prevented.
Yeah. How about you, Hadley? What are your prevention pet peeves?
Honestly, I 100% agree with her. When it's still, I did. Like, there's a lot of things that kind of bug me sometimes.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
Oh, what a bit of a spot. I don't know. I feel like something that like kind of like gets my goat a little bit is like when parents, like when their child is like struggling with addiction or suicidal thoughts or something, they'll like downplay it and be like, "Oh no, my kid would never," instead of like, we're trying to help them, but they won't let us help.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's something that we face almost every day, right?
Yeah.
Like it's one person at a time, or hundreds if that's what happens. But
yeah,
that's the thing. We can't really push people to do what needs to be done, if that makes sense. It almost feels like a very huge divide with the teens and that our youth advisors, where they take over, but gives us the responsibility that when you're the leader, you should be taken care of. Yeah.
I agree. It's no one's fault. It's really not. It's just everything socially is always changing and progressing. And sometimes there's a lack of understanding that always happens, that always happens, and it is realistic. And I think that just needs to be communicated more efficiently between all teens and adults in order to ensure that you are educating your youth and your peers the best way you can, but also not talking to them like they don't know what they're doing, because we're all in high school now. Like we're all kind of independent, so you know what you should be doing. And I think that's just like the best way to ensure the most effective communication.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. If you were talking to someone who's brand new in the field, in fact, they've been given the exact same job title and work in a similar community, what would you give them? What advice would you give them? Let's start with you.
I would just say be persistent. Go after what you think is right, but also make sure what you think is right is what the community wants and also thinks is right. It's hard to get and back a lot of your ideas or proposals if you don't have that community support. And again, you are serving your community. You are a figurehead for your community or for your youth group or for whatever coalition you're working for. You should know and try to understand each problem in the community that is present and needs to be taken care of in order to improve your community to the best of your ability.
Yeah, for sure. So how about you, Hadley? If someone with the same exact job title as you, work in a similar community, what advice would you give?
I would say probably really get to know like your community, like what's like going on in the community you need to work on. And you need to really listen and like want people. And I think just like really be there for like a good reason and like really like be determined to help someone.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you in the audience if you're listening. Thank you. If you are listening, please leave a review and follow the podcast. And if you enjoy the content, announcements. Next week is a CADCO forum. I will meet one of you, Hadley's friend, there. Hopefully, we'll meet you there. And see you next Monday for another episode of Party Talk, where we empower leaders in youth drug prevention.